But we begin this hour in Boston, where Brian Walshe was ordered to be held without bail during his arraignment today.
Yeah, prosecutors say Walshe killed his wife, then dismembered and discarded her body. Prosecutors laid out all these details of Walshe's movements in the days after her disappearance during his court appearance this morning. His wife, Ana Walshe, was reportedly seen last on New Year's Day, leaving their home in South Boston. Her body has not been found.
In a statement, Brian Walshe's attorney says, quote, "It is easy to charge a crime and even easier to say a person committed that crime. It is a much more difficult thing to prove it." The statement says, which we will see if the prosecution can do. Joining us now is retired FBI Special Agent Mary Ellen O'Toole. She worked in the Behavioral Analysis Unit and is now the Director of Forensic Sciences at George Mason University. Thanks for being with us. And also joining us is Beth Germano from our CBS News Boston station, WBZ TV. Our thanks to you both. Beth, let's begin with you. A number of disturbing details Lana laid out were unveiled in court today. What does this new information mean as far as what this man is being accused with having done?
Well, they are incredibly disturbing revelations as Brian Walshe stood motionless in court. Up until now, he'd only been charged with misleading investigators. But today, prosecutors laid out detailed internet searches about dismembering and discarding a body, as well as DNA evidence they say they have linking Brian Walshe to his wife's murder, even though her body has never been found. Among those internet searches, they say how long before a body starts to smell, how to stop a body from decomposing, how long can someone be missing before inheritance. They also say he Googled back in late December, what is the best date for a man to get a divorce in? They say instead of divorcing, he dismembered and discarded his wife's body. Those remains have not been found, they say, because they were taken to dumpsters in 2 different Massachusetts communities, and then they were, by routine, taken to a plant for incineration. But they believe they have solid DNA evidence linking him to her murder.
Mary, let's bring you into this conversation. Really disturbing details between his movements, purchasing all of those disinfecting solutions, his web searches, his visits to dumpsters. Is it going to hamper the prosecution that they don't have the body, that body, as you just heard, was likely incinerated?
I wouldn't say it would hamper them. I would say it would become more challenging to present a homicide case where you don't have a body. Nonetheless, there's precedent for it. And in those cases where they're called no-body homicides, they've actually been very successful. So they look for 3 types of evidence, which they articulated today. They're looking at forensic evidence, physical evidence, DNA. They're looking for technology. Where did the individual drive? Are there photographs of them in stores, driving out of stores? And then third, they're looking for pattern behavior, which is the patterns of the victim. Is this somebody that would routinely stay in touch, use their phone on a regular basis, and then all of a sudden an abrupt stop? So that pattern is important because what they have to show is this. An adult went involuntarily missing. The adult is no longer dead. The adult individual has most likely died, and the cause of death is a homicide. So that's their challenge. And in those 3 categories of evidence, they have to be able to show that.
It is so disturbing just discussing this and knowing that this just happened. And it's not the only case, Mary, since the beginning of the year even, where a man has been accused of killing not just his partner, but in other cases, their entire families. Yeah. This one's receiving a lot of attention. In your view, what is this about? What is going on here? Why do any men decide to do such a thing? And why do you think this case is getting so much attention?
Well, domestic violence is a horrible crime, and it certainly has been on the increase since COVID. Wow. And there are a lot of contributing factors to it. In some cases, it's mental health issues. Drugs and alcohol can also be a contributor. I think that it really is a case-by-case evaluation, but it is on the rise. And oftentimes, domestic violence is covered in secrecy by the family because they don't want other people to know about it. I think in this case, the reason that there is so much interest is because of the husband's behavior. And now with all of these searches and the comings and the goings and the cold cold-blooded nature of these searches and supposedly carrying out a homicide. I think that has really gotten the interest of the public. But again, it's domestic violence is on the rise. It has been for a number of years, and unfortunately it happens in every socioeconomic group, all types of families.
That's such an important point, Mary Ellen, because we know for every one of these cases that there are hundreds more that don't receive the same amount of attention. 40% of the missing persons cases in this country are actually people of color, and this one has captured our attention. But it's worthy to note that this is more widespread.
That's a good point.
Than just this one family that is certainly grieving. Beth, what more do we know about where police intend to go from here?
Well, we know they have this DNA evidence that goes back to another dumpster near the home of his mother, who lives in the North Shore of Massachusetts. They say they have DNA evidence matching Ana and Brian Walshe, for example, on some slippers that she had. They also say it was on a Tyvek suit that he was allegedly wearing. So they say that is very solid evidence. They also say they found part of a necklace. They also found Ana Walshe's COVID vaccination card in that dumpster. So they believe they have a pretty solid case here, even though they do not have a body. This search has gone on in several areas of Massachusetts. As we indicate, they don't believe they'll be able to find these remains, but they believe this DNA evidence, which has been just reported back from the state crime lab, but we've actually been waiting several days to get these results, and suddenly today we have the murder charge and also the disinterring of a body. Those two charges he faces today, and he's now being held without bail, due back in court here in Quincy next month.
So horrific, and 3 young children now without their mother. All right, Mary Ellen O'Toole, Beth Germano, thank you.
Thank you.